This is a Game of Thrones Season 8 prediction video based on speculation, imagination, and clues found in both book and show stories. This video may contain spoilers for those who are not up to date with Seasons 1 through 7 and all current books released. Hi, I'm Raylene, and welcome to Khaleesi Clues. Today's video will be the fifth in a series of Game of Thrones Season 8 prediction videos that I'm currently making for my channel. If you would like to watch them in order, you may want to stop, go back, and watch some of the previous videos that I have recorded. Today's video will be all about Arya Stark. I know it's been a while since I've been able to produce any videos, and I know a lot of you have been waiting for it. There's a lot of Arya fans out there. I've got my Arya shirt on. It just says, nope, not today. But hopefully today the video will be done. I hope you enjoy some of the predictions that I have set up for her. She's going to be fighting, but there's more. And even this video doesn't cover all of it. She has one more, actually a couple pretty big more predictions coming up in the next video. But with all that said, let's get on to the video. Thanks. In case you have not watched my previous prediction videos, I'll go over a very small, brief recap to catch you up to date. Basically, it breaks down like this. Winterfell has received news, most likely through Bran's visions, of the attack on the last hearth or Carhold, or possibly even both. Dany and her dragons are gone at this point, searching for signs of any survivors. Fearing that Winterfell will be next in line for an attack from the Night King, siege measures are now taking place. People who are unable to fight will be sheltered in the crypts of Winterfell along with Sansa, Bran, and other people of importance such as Maester Wolcombe and maybe even Sam. It is during this chaotic moment of weakness for Winterfell that Cersei, who I believe will travel north with her troops, seizes the opportunity to begin her betrayal on the north by launching a sneak attack on Winterfell. I believe she will have her troops attack from one side while Euron and the Golden Company launch a second attack from the opposite side. While the battle is raging above on the grounds of Winterfell, Cersei and the Mountain will be waging their own war in the crypts, resulting in taking Sansa Stark as a hostage with plans of returning to King's Landing. My latest prediction video left you in the crypts of Winterfell with one of our favorite characters, Podrick Payne, lying on the floor, possibly dead as a doornail or barely clinging to life. As for me, I am hoping he is the latter and will be able to be saved by the help of either Sam or Maester Wolcombe. Moving forward now with this video, I'm going to be talking about some of the predictions I have for our favorite little sister, Arya Stark. As I think all of us would expect, Arya will not be one taking shelter in the crypts of Winterfell. As we all heard her say back in Season 6, "My name is Arya Stark of Winterfell, and I'm going home." Home and family is everything to Arya. We watched as she made her choice in Season 7 at the crossroads. Originally, she had every intention and could have easily traveled on to King's Landing on her revenge mission to complete her kill list. This list is comprised of people that she believes have escaped justice. Instead, upon learning from her friend Hot Pie that her remaining family was once again back at Winterfell, she chose to return to them. She is once again and finally home now and will be fighting tooth and nail to defend it. Cersei has been on Arya's list since Season 2. In all actuality, Cersei is the one responsible for Arya's need for a list to begin with. The tragedies that Arya has endured began back in Season 1. After Nymeria came to Arya's defense and attacked Prince Joffrey, she was forced to send her direwolf away, telling Nymeria to run. They will kill you for what you did to Joffrey. Eventually having to throw rocks at her to make Nymeria finally leave her side. Arya had no idea that Cersei would then demand the life of Sansa's direwolf lady to be killed in place of Nymeria. The first tragedy now turning into two as she protested, Lady wasn't there. You leave her alone. And listening to Sansa's pleas of, no, not Lady. Lady didn't bite anyone. She's good. Stop them. Don't let them do it. Please, please, it wasn't Lady. Their words and anguish meaning nothing to the queen. Like Cersei had claimed, Joffrey will bear these scars for the rest of his life. Such a very true statement. Joffrey may have had to bear the physical scars, but the girls would bear the emotional scars heavily on their hearts for the rest of their lives. The third tragedy following soon after, as the reports came in that the Hound had killed Micah, the butcher's boy, and Arya's friend. The tragedies didn't stop there. They just kept piling up. It wasn't that much longer when all hell broke loose. Arya was barely able to escape being captured by Sir Meryn Trant and was hiding on the streets of King's Landing. It is then that she heard and followed the crowd that was gathering at the Sept of Baelor. Both girls witnessed their honorable father brought to such a desperate level at the hands of the Lannisters. Hearing their brave, strong father being ridiculed by the crowd, verbally and physically abused, while already in an injured and weakened state. Hearing Ned's final words that he was barely able to force out of his mouth. Followed by Joffrey's dreadful words of, "Sir Ilyn, bring me his head." Sansa screaming, "Please, someone stop him." Arya desperately trying to reach her father in time to try and save him. And yes, although the Night's Watchman Yoren was able to reach Arya in time to shelter her eyes from Ned's actual beheading, she still saw it. In the books, one of Arya's lessons from Syrio Forel was how to see with your ears, skin, and nose. In the show, they only touched on a few lessons taught by Syrio. When I rewatched that episode, I closed my eyes and just listened to all of the chaos of that moment. The sound of ice being drawn, Sansa's continual pleas begging Joffrey to stop, and then the silence as the sword falls. It was still not over. They both then witnessed their father's headless body being dragged away, Sansa finally collapsing from sheer terror, and Arya being whisked away by Yoren. It was later in Season 2 when Yoren was trying to help Arya deal with such trauma. She was struggling to fall asleep at night, unable to stop replaying her father's death in her head. Yoren told her about witnessing the death of his own brother, who was stabbed through the heart by a man named Willem. Yoren said he would say his name every night, almost like a prayer. Willem, Willem, Willem. And one day, Willem came riding back into town. I buried an axe so deep into his skull they had to bury him with it. By the way, did anyone catch what George R.R. Martin did with that name? He used the name Willem. Take the two words of will and them, will them. Now shorten it to Willem. And that's exactly what Yoren's prayer did. He willed his brother's murderer back into his life. Ever since that story was told to Arya, she began her own nightly prayer, her list of names, ever growing and changing over the years. If my prediction is right, and Cersei does come north with her troops to Winterfell, Arya is going to be foaming at the mouth. Arya is going to have to maintain some serious self-control. Her desire to kill Cersei will need to be put on hold until the immediate dangers are resolved. It's going to be all hands on deck when the battles begin. Besides, Cersei, I'm sure, will be under protection of the guest rights law of the North. I don't believe Arya will be willing to break that rule. She may be a wolf, but she has learned to have the patience of a cat. I'm really excited to see Arya in action this next season. We only got a small taste of it last season when she was sparring with Brienne. I fully expect to see the Hound completely taken back by Arya's improved skills. She has become quite the warrior over the years. I have a feeling that we will see the three of them fighting fiercely together as a team, looking out for one another on the battlefield. One thing I would absolutely love to see happen is the return of Nymeria and her wolf pack. I just think back to the conversation between Arya and Tywin Lannister. Arya was chosen to be Tywin's cupbearer while she was staying at Harrenhal during the War of the Five Kings. Tywin was having a meeting with some of his commanders when he began asking Arya questions about the North. Tywin had asked, "What do they say of Robb Stark in the North?" Arya answered, "They call him the Young Wolf. They say he rides into battle on the back of a giant direwolf. They say he can turn into a wolf himself if he wants." Now, I know those statements were referring to Robb Stark, but to me, it just screams Arya and Nymeria. I think it would be absolutely amazing to see Arya either in dire need of some backup, when suddenly we see Nymeria and her wolf pack come out of the woods and jump into action. Arya is small enough that she could grab a hold of Nymeria and ride out of that predicament and charge right into another battle. Now that I have mentioned Harrenhal, let us remember that it was during that particular time when Arya had her horrible encounter with the Mountain, which of course quickly got him added to her nightly prayer list. So now that makes 2 of the people on Arya's list right in her own wolf's den. And remember those awesome lines that Arya had said to the phrase, "Leave one wolf alive and the sheep are never safe." And tell them, the North remembers, winter came for House Frey. Cersei really has no idea of what's coming for her. Okay, I'm just going to breeze over a few things just to make sure we are all on the same page. Continuing from my brief recap of the last video, Cersei now has captured Sansa. I fully believe that Cersei, Sansa, the Mountain, and a select few good men will head straight back to King's Landing to wait out what remains of the Great War. Cersei will continue to fortify the gates in King's Landing in preparation for whatever or whoever is left to battle with in the end. Cersei and her crew will be making their exit before the battle at Winterfell actually ends. I fully believe that Winterfell will be devastated. I think it will be nearly lost to the battle before we see the possibility of a few things happening. One possibility being the arrival of Jaime, and I'm hoping Edmure and the Blackfish along with the Tully army. I'm really hoping to see the Blackfish take action against the Golden Company. The Blackfish in his youth helped defeat the Golden Company during one of the Blackfyre rebellions. It would be great to have him go head-to-head with them once again and help kick whatever is left of them back to the sea in retreat. The arrival of Jaime with the Tullys at this pivotal moment would be a great way to prove to the Starks and to all of the North that he stands with them, not against them. This would also give Jaime a good idea of just how big of a monster Cersei has become, seeing the senseless devastation of the Northern alliances when they should all be banding together to fight the common enemy. And just a little side note since I am on the subject of Jaime, how many of you out there would like to see Jaime lose that useless gold hand of his during a battle scene? I know I would. He needs a weapon on that hand. Maybe Gendry could come up with some type of awesome weapon that could be attached on and off at need. Jaime did make a comment to Brienne a few seasons back about not understanding why some knights felt the need to carry 2 swords. Plus, we had the awesome battle scene during the Tower of Joy flashback showing a dual sword-wielding Arthur Dayne fighting a young Ned. Maybe it was foreshadowing a future dual-wielding Sir Jaime Lannister. Jaime could be like the $6 million man. Build him better, stronger, faster. Something like that could enable him to reclaim his former title as one of the best swordsmen that had ever lived. It definitely would make some great pages to be written in the White Book. Euron had said that Jaime was rumored to be the best in the world, unstoppable, glorious to behold him in battle. Gendry definitely has the talent for creating amazing armor, and Melisandre did say that he would make kings rise and fall. Whatever weapons he creates this coming season will definitely play a part in the Great War and the fall of the Night King. Another possibility is the return of Dany and the dragons. I would hope that they would have a role to play fighting the Golden Company and Queen Cersei's forces. This would also assure the northern people that Dany is there to help defend the north, not conquer. I can't decide if Jon would have gone with Dany on Drogon or if he would have stayed behind at Winterfell. I think it would be extremely hard for Jon to let Dany take off on her own, but this is war and tough decisions will be made on a daily basis. The question of, will they be aware by this time that Dany is pregnant also comes to my mind. Maybe Dany will know or suspect something but has not yet informed Jon. Maybe Dany will leave on Drogon alone against Jon's advice or wishes. So many different possibilities, just like everything else for this story. I think it would be amazing to have Jon fighting at Winterfell with Ghost by his side. Rhaegal, although flying with Dany and Drogon, sensing Jon is in danger and circles back. Dany may not understand why, but I believe she would follow Rhaegal, arriving just in time to witness the nightmare unfolding at Winterfell. Dany, astonished to see Rhaegal go into action protecting Jon. That would be the second strange encounter for Jon and the dragons, which might make Dany a little more intrigued about Jon's parentage. So now let me get to the aftermath of the battle. The survivors of the battle will now have to begin to take inventory of the damages. They will begin to look for what can be salvaged, what food is left, what shelter is left, what people may need medical attention, and also the dead. The dreadful task of having to gather all of the dead to place in piles for burning. All of this will then lead to checking on the people in the crypts and the discovery of Sansa's abduction. Can you even begin to imagine how Arya is going to feel at that moment? All of the wildfire in King's Landing will not be able to stand against the winter that is coming. Plus, we have the other characters' reactions to this news. The Hound is going to be furious, knowing that his little bird is in a cage once again. Brienne is going to feel as if she has failed her vow and duty once again. Jon will feel the guilt of not being able to protect Sansa and for not listening to Sansa's warnings about Cersei. I would think they would all be looking at Bran like, why didn't you see this coming? Jaime is going to have to deal with the guilt of knowing that both his brother and Sansa are in severe danger. The worst part will be for all of these characters who love and care about Sansa and or Tyrion, having to come to terms with the fact that there is nothing they can do at this time. Like I said, this is war, and tough decisions are going to be made on a daily basis. They need all hands on deck to deal with the Night King and the army of the dead. They cannot split forces and go after Sansa and Tyrion. Don't worry, though. At least try not to worry too much, because winter truly is coming for Queen Cersei. It's just on pause for a bit. Now, I've got a really big prediction for Arya for the end game of the show. I think we all know that she will be there with all of the best fighters during the battle for Dawn. But when that war is over, she will be picking right back up on her list. Cersei being in the number 1 spot. Just like I had Cersei travel in full circle back to Winterfell this coming season, Arya will be completing her own circle along with Sansa. Arya is going back to King's Landing after all. She's not going alone either. The Hound is going with her. We will once again get to see that amazing duo on the road, but this time working together for the same cause, to free Sansa, and maybe a little bonus cause of possibly killing Cersei. As we all know, wherever Cersei goes, the mountain follows. The two Clegane brothers will be reunited once again. What's the odds on that reunion going over very well? Well, that's a subject to be covered in another video. There is still one thing left that I need to spring on you. That is the revelation of how I believe Arya is going to get inside the gates of King's Landing and ride up close and personal with the Queen, Cersei Lannister. We all know that Arya is familiar with the secret tunnels that led outside of the gates in King's Landing. Arya might very well use those same tunnels to gain access to the inside of the Red Keep. Or she may just walk through the front gates of King's Landing like we seen her do back in Season 1, or even more recently when we seen her return to Winterfell in Season 7. My guess is that she is going to walk right through the gates of King's Landing with the Hound in tow. Sounds a bit far-fetched, right? Let me take you back to Episode 6 in Season 7. Remember that bag of faces Arya had hidden under her bed that Sansa discovered? It briefly showed two faces. The first face out of the bag was a mystery and just passed over quickly. The second face was unmistakably old Walder Frey, which we have already seen Arya put to great use. Now, I've seen all sorts of guesses on who the first face was, and I could be wrong with my guess, but to me, that face is, drumroll, Big Brother Jon Snow. Take a look at some of the pictures I gathered for comparison. I know, people are going to say, Jon's not dead, she can't use his face, but he was dead for a while, thanks to the Brothers of the Night's Watch. Besides, we don't exactly know how the magic of the Faceless Men really works. We even saw Arya's face used by the supposed dead Jaqen H'ghar, and she was definitely alive and kicking at the time. The showrunners basically smacked us in the face with a clue of who the mystery mug was by following up the Sansa scene with a close-up shot of Jon's face while he was recovering from his recent Ice Bucket Challenge gone wrong. My opinion is, I think Arya will use Jon's face and have the Hound follow right in behind her through the gates of King's Landing. It could be as simple guise as Jon Snow turning himself over to Queen Cersei in exchange for freeing his little sister Sansa. Or it could be under the guise of Jon Snow requesting a truce. You know what they say, turnabout is fair play. Maybe Sandor could say that he is turning Jon over to the Queen for a reward now that the war was over. Seriously, there are so many options that are out there that could work for this scenario. So now I'm going to give everyone a big fair warning that I'm going to talk about a Season 8 spoiler that was released earlier this year. So if you do not want to hear about any Season 8 spoilers, go ahead and skip to the ending of this video. If you're still here, let's carry on. Earlier this year, a series of Season 8 photos were leaked by some photographers. I'm not sure who leaked the photos first, but they have been all over the net. The images show Jon Snow walking along a castle passageway, followed closely behind by a hooded unknown man. Rumors were that it was the same location used for the King's Landing scenes. There were also images of Queen Cersei meeting with Jon Snow at this location. All the rumors were flying about Jon possibly being held captive in King's Landing, and all I could think of was, how is he going to be out there fighting the war if he is captive in King's Landing? It just didn't add up to me, not with so little hours left in the series. As for the hooded mystery man following Jon in the pictures, I think he is the body or stunt double for Sandor Clegane. I have a picture of Sandor's stunt double, but I can't tell if it is the same guy. Rory may have multiple stunt or body doubles. This just happens to be the one picture that I found. Just as Cersei had her body double perform her famous Walk of Shame scene from Season 5, the show had Lena Headey's face merged with the body double's nude body to complete that scene. That's what I believe they will do for this particular Jon Snow scene. They will merge Rory McCann's face with the body double used in that scene. I believe they used a body double for Sandor in order to help confuse the public. They may not even need a face shot of Sandor for that particular scene. The show has gone to extreme measures of keeping spoilers from leaking this final season. Take a look at the hooded cloak used by the unknown man following Jon. It looks exactly like the hooded cloak we've seen Sandor use as a disguise to enter the twins with Arya during the Red Wedding celebration back in Season 3. So that pretty much wraps up this part of my predictions for Arya. Trust me, her story isn't done, but it's a good stopping point. So let me know what you all think. Do you think the mystery mug is Jon Snow's face? Could the hooded mystery man be the stunt or body double subbing in for Sandor Clegane? I really hope you're enjoying my Season 8 predictions. If you are, please help my channel by hitting the like button. Please feel free to share or comment on any of my videos. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of my future videos. I still have lots of Season 8 predictions left to discuss. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to all of my subscribers for their support, and everyone have a wonderful day.